The thing is with Liverpool this season is that you don't want to spend every single post-match talking about Arne Slot's future, because it's such an obvious talking point to turn to. There have been so many poor results that it seems easy to kind of single out the head coach and become obsessed with that and say, oh, even if they won, it was a poor performance. The head coach has got to go at the end of the season. If they do lose, it's a poor performance. The head coach has got to go at the end of the season. And you do sense sometimes that supporters do want you to talk about it every single time. But there have been other storylines to follow in the season, this development of certain players, the fact that Liverpool hit a real dip, then they did stabilise, the manager did manage to stop the bleeding, and we may have even seen, a recovery of late to kind of get them back into top four contention. But I think what's been obvious even throughout all that is that Arne Slot couldn't afford for things to go back to how they were. He couldn't afford another dip. He couldn't afford another poor run of results, and he couldn't afford for the football to go back to as bad as it was in the worst period of the season, whereby, the worst period being when they lost 9 games in 12. Well, it's starting to feel like Liverpool are dipping back towards that after this 1-1 draw with Spurs coming off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Galatasaray, because the fact is Spurs come here and nobody gives them a chance, and I think rightly so. They'd lost 6 of the last 6 games. They're on the verge of sacking the manager. Maybe they'll change their mind about that after this one. They had no confidence. They had 14 players out. They're arguably the worst team in the division at the moment and still massively in contention to get relegated. And yet they've come here to the home of the Premier League champions, and Liverpool have got issues themselves, but not issues big enough to justify the fact that they were terrible in this one, and that Spurs come away with a deserved point. And that deserved point comes with typically a late equaliser, which Liverpool have conceded so many result-changing late goals in games this season. So it's been a bit of a theme this season. But the fact is, Spurs deserved it because they were knocking on the door massively towards the end of that second half. And so they were pushing, they were penning Liverpool in, and got the chance at the end. And I don't think anybody was shocked to see it hit the back of the net. And I think, look, you can mention some of the issues in the squad, you can mention fitness, you can mention all these things and the problems Liverpool have faced this season, but the fact is Arne Slot is going to find it very hard to justify that Liverpool performed the way they did against relegation candidates at home, as they have done so many times this season. The weight of evidence against him is just too big now. It's almost an entire season of poor performance. You could even argue the back half of last season as well of poor performance. Nothing seemingly improving outside of attacking set pieces. Liverpool looking a little bit clueless in the final third. Liverpool looking defensively weak and easy to get at. And look, I think people would find it easier to accept if Liverpool themselves were in the midst of an injury crisis, but they haven't really got that kind of problem. They've got a few out, but not enough to justify just how bad they've been. And I think you can see that in the fact that the Anfield crowd boos, hugely loud boos at full time here. You can't kid this crowd, and I think they've reached breaking point with what they've seen, which is not only poor football and not entertaining football, because we're seeing a lot of that across the Premier League, but completely ineffective football that doesn't get the job done. It's too easy to get at, and then you aren't going to win many games playing this sort of football. And so they're not happy. As much as the line from Liverpool is that FSG and the hierarchy here are happy, I really struggle to believe that. And I think this is tonight another nail in Slot's coffin.